A Super Bowl champion.
The Green Bay Packers have won the Super Bowl.
The Packers' all-time leading scorer.
A game winner for Mason Crosby.
It's time for the Mason Crosby Show with Mitch Nellis, presented by Verizon, the official 5G network of the Green Bay Packers, on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook, and on the free Odyssey app.
High noon and welcome in. This is the Mason Crosby Show, presented by Verizon. I'm Mitch Nellis. He's Tommy Wirtz. And Mason Crosby is back in the friendly confines of oysters and drinking wine with the missus. What's up, Mace?
Yeah, did y'all jump on our live Instagram last night?
I didn't jump on the live, but I definitely saw a bunch of highlights.
Yeah, we went live. Live. I've never eaten food in a setting like that. You know, it's like eating oysters is a little weird anyways. Mm-hmm. And then it was like everyone's watching, but that was fun. Yeah, it was good because I was so tired. I got back from everything going on there in Wisconsin over the weekend, and we went out, and I was like, all right, I got to find some juice, and we did. We had a great time. It was kind of fun.
Literally, you found some juice. You found.
I found a little juice.
43 glasses of wine all laid out on the table.
But those were little half glasses. Like we didn't actually have that much. Didn't consume that much wine. Felt pretty good this morning.
If you're looking for an English to French translator, though, Mason Crosby is your guy.
I'm starting on the backside with the Grand Chief
This is the melon one.
Molly just says this is the melon one.
Tommy said it before the show started. He's like, Molly just redirected that conversation immediately because Mason's French is something else.
Oh, that was the highlight for me.
You try reading that label.
No, I
took French for like 6 years, so I probably could.
Okay, well, you're special.
It was funnier because Molly was like, the melon one. Let's just move on from French.
Yeah, let's
move
just
on.
call it that.
That was awesome.
That's why you have each other.
Yeah,
that's right.
Fair enough.
So I have no idea if he had any melon wine last night, but Giannis was quite talkative last evening. First with Jim Owczarski of the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel, then with Eric Name of The Athletic. We got to discuss that. Vinny Rottino, Brewers TV analyst, is going to join us at 12:28 to talk about all the changes going on with the Brewers broadcasts and some spring training preview. Peter Bukowski at 1 o'clock, locked on Packers. And also, I think at 12:30 today, Goody is scheduled to have a press conference where I'm sure he'll be very forthcoming with all sorts of information from our Green Bay Packers because they are well known for actually sharing information, right, Mace?
Yeah, who knows? It might be a new era. I mean, they just got extended. When is what a better time than now just to start just being forthright, just say everything that's going on in the building.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's start with Giannis, though, speaking of being in the building, because last night after his on-court workout, Jim Owczarski got a little one-on-one, and then what I think is a show of class. You know, there are two main reporters who cover the Bucs. Jim Owczarski with the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel and Eric Name with The Athletic. They're there every single day, every road trip, everything. And I think Giannis realized that, like, I talked to Jimmy O. I should probably talk to Eric also. Those are both my guys. And he called Eric later. They both wrote articles, very similar information. I don't know how in-depth you got into those, Mason, but Giannis talking about how much he loves Milwaukee. He'd love, ideally, to win a championship with the Bucs and retire a Buck, but that's not always the way it goes. What were some of your impressions of what Giannis had to say?
I did see that, and it's, I don't know. It's just we kind of just feel stuck still where we have been for a while. It's will he or will he not be a Milwaukee Buck? But I mean, those types of comments. Obviously, he's been nothing but consistent that he loves it in Milwaukee. He hopes that they can figure out a way and have a path forward to winning championships in Milwaukee again. And what does that look like? I think that's kind of probably the biggest question. Money is not an issue, right? They're going to pay him or someone else will pay him. So it's not like he's looking to go somewhere else to get a bigger payday. You know, it's so different than the NFL or different things like that, where it's like, all right, I got to get out of the situation. This team might pay me more if I go over there. he is going to get a max deal either way. He wants to win a championship. How do the Bucks? For me, though, I look at it as like the Bucks are willing to go and try to find those pieces. Like they are creative. They find ways. Like they tried to bring Miles Turner in thinking he was that like a guy that could help this thing go in the right direction. They're eating Dame's contract right now. So like this team is willing to do all of the things. They went to get Dame. They gave up a lot of draft pick. Like I'm not sure, I guess, if the grass is greener somewhere else, where he's going to go, where, yeah, you might go, you might win a championship, but now what, right? Like all these other organizations are going to be unique and different. You know, the Bucks, you know, they're going to try to put a team around you as long as you're still there. Like, I'm not sure. If I were in his situation, I would really think hard about leaving a situation like the Milwaukee Bucks.
I'll read just this little excerpt. I don't want to spoil the whole thing for Eric Name. Go check it out at The Athletic for sure if you want to read up on this. Here's a paragraph that is brought up to Giannis with Eric Name in this recent Athletic post. We always go back to the Bucks. And if I'm going to stay here and if I'm not going to stay here, let's put the Bucks aside for 1 second. Let's talk about the city itself. The memories I've created here. When you open my kids' passports, it says Milwaukee, born in Milwaukee. I had 4 kids in that span over the last 5 years in this city. My dad is buried in this city. I've built a house for my mom 10 seconds away from my house. Literally walk to my mom's front door. It takes me 4 seconds. On what planet, on what earth would someone want to leave this?
So but in juxtaposition, moments later, he also said to Eric Name, if you ask me deep down what I want today, I want to be a Buck for the rest of my career. He said that to Jim Owczarski as well. He continued, I want to win here another championship. And if you can tell me that's possible, let's just hang up the phone. You know basketball, you see basketball, you understand basketball. You've been around greatness, you've been around a championship team, you've been around good culture, you've been around when the popcorn was popping. You were around, you saw it. If you tell me that that is possible, we can hang up the phone and keep on moving with our day. And Eric Name wrote in the next sentence, neither of us hung up the phone. They are not ready to move on with the day because they know the culture is not right. Like, it's not like, oh, the culture's still great. We just don't have the right players. The culture isn't right. There is not greatness there. There is not good at basketball there. The popcorn is not popping right now with the Milwaukee Bucks. And that's why I think that as many flowers as Giannis gave the Bucks and gave Milwaukee in these 2 interviews, it still behooves Giannis to think about there might be a post-Bucks career. It still behooves John Horst and the Bucks to do their due diligence when other teams are calling and when they are giving counter offers, because this is not about you keep Giannis at all costs. This is about a business, and it might not make business sense for Giannis and the Bucks to be together forever.
But what is the Bucks' motivation? Just to honor a player's legacy? I
say no.
So you're saying no? Okay, all right. So like, I'm curious. Like, so then why would you move on from Giannis? Like,
because
he is a seat filler. But do you think that's going to make your franchise better by moving on from Giannis instead of having a down year?
Yep.
Because those are all the questions, right? And I think I saw it in the Fan Talk and text line from the previous show. It's like, is Giannis not able to have a down year? Like, is he not able to just say like, all right, like we weren't able to get it done. Miles Turner needs, either kind of, we got to reset, figure this out. Probably going to have to get you're going to have to get a new head coach. You're going to have to find some pieces that complement this a little bit better, where it's not Giannis just beating himself up day in and day out to try to win games. So yes, like that. Okay. That's a culture thing, but that's a structural thing as well. Don't look at it as this hierarching culture thing. It's just like, all right, what is the structure? Can we go a year where we're down and can we build this thing up? I think honestly, 4 months in now to this season, this is kind of what we expected, right? Like it was now, but now we're like questioning it all again, where it was like this team, if they made the playoffs, I think everyone was going to be just happy with that because
when the
it
season
was going to be
started?
a year or two.
Yeah, we were never talking about them as like a top 4 seed, though.
No,
remember,
but
like
we were talking about this is absolutely a playoff team,
right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
they should make
like,
the playoffs,
yes.
but it's
Like,
like
they should
this
be a
wasn't a
top
team
6
that they were
team in
going to
the East.
compete. They weren't going to compete.
not for a title.
no.
That they were still growing and building, but they were growing and building and doing the things the right
Well,
way.
and Mitch,
That has gone severely off the highway and has taken 17 different off ramps since the season started, partly based on injuries, partly based on Miles Turner underperforming, partly based on perception of the Haslams. Like there have been a number of off ramps that this has not gone the direction we thought it would.
Well, and Mitch, I think you are aware, and you would say this too, but you brought up culture in your last comment too. Like
I did not. Giannis brought up culture.
Well, you
I
brought
did not
up the
bring up
culture
culture.
in the piece
Right.
here.
Giannis
And if there
talked about
is a
culture.
problem in the culture, who better to point to first than the superstar on the team, though?
That's a good point, Tommy.
Like, you can't tell me that the Packers
I'd say
culture doesn't
ownership
get a
and
little
coach.
maybe, but when you hear about
But he runs the show. Everything we talk about is Giannis. Like, and what if he's happy? If he deserves to go somewhere else to win a championship, what does he deserve? I mean, he is getting paid $250 million next year on a 4-year deal. Like he's earned all those things, but he also was a rising superstar. He didn't show up in Milwaukee as Giannis that we saw, that won the championship. Like he had
showed
to
up as
be
an 18-year-old skinny kid.
he had to
with
become
nothing.
that. So how you don't have that person on your roster right now. So like if we want to, I always like to, because of what I know, you go to the Green Bay Packers. Like with quarterbacks, they drafted Jordan Love. They developed him. They had him ready. That was the only reason they felt comfortable moving on from Aaron Rodgers. If Jordan Love's not sitting in that room where if they didn't feel comfortable, Aaron Rodgers was not going anywhere.
Right, but it's someday he would.
But he wasn't then. He's
Right,
like he wasn't
right.
going to go like right then, and that's the same situation we are with Giannis.
Well,
it's a little down. It's a little down
the
though.
business is different, though. The business is different.
It is,
You're
but
not trading.
But
unless
sports are sport. You're not
Now,
getting rid of
all
a
right.
superstar
Should the
when
Pa-
you don't have the answer in the building.
I don't know. Seattle did, and it seems to work out well for them. Should the Packers have taken the Broncos package? Because Seattle traded a star quarterback and got and they got all their buckets, and they are back in the Super Bowl, having traded Russell Wilson, their starting quarterback, because they had scrubs in back of them. They didn't have a quarterback answer. And there are people who will still say,
but
if
they
the
were
Packers-
not good
if
right
the
after Russell
No,
Wilson.
they weren't good, but
They've been
turned it around pretty
trash.
quick.
Like they were trash for a few years.
They turned it around pretty quickly. They were competitive with Geno Smith. And Geno Smith is terrible. I'll go back
All right,
and look at
yeah.
the records.
If you want to be competitive, then that's fine.
Right. And sometimes that's what you need to do. I mean, I would still say it may have behooved the Packers to take that Broncos deal.
Does it justify Giannis's thinking where we're talking about being competitive now as opposed to competing for championships? Where if you are going to move on from a Russell Wilson to maintain being competitive while we are focusing on becoming competing for championships, does that justify Giannis's thoughts of this team just wants to be competitive? They don't want to compete for championships right now.
Here's my mindset. He goes somewhere else. He wins a championship. Great. You have 2 championships. But don't you think, like, from a fan, like a view perspective, you're going to be like, oh, you went and pot a champion. Like, you kind of just went and, like, you were a mercenary, like they said.
It's not the same.
And it's not the same. You stick in Milwaukee. You bring this organization, this team up from where it is right now.
Right.
And you go and win another championship. His legacy is 10 times greater than what it is going to Golden State winning with Steph Curry or going to San Antonio with Wemby. And it's like, was that, what was that? So I think stay in Milwaukee, dominate, find a way to bring this culture to where it needs to be and change how you play a little bit and bring some of these players up to the level that they need to be at.
So you're right about everything you just said. If it's possible. If there's a point where Giannis and or the Bucks say we're just not going to be competitive with this financial landscape, with Giannis getting older and injured, with the rest of the roster, then you have to make a business decision. You can't
from
just
an organization
you can't just keep Giannis till he's 38 because you love Giannis and just throw away the future of the franchise. By the way, I don't know. Did you get? Can we look at what's behind Tommy? That's on the screen right now. Look at that brand new.
Is this the new sign?
Yeah.
I'll be having one of those here pretty soon.
It smells like rubber in this room or something now. Like there is
new cars.
There is a scent in here because of this.
Yeah, we all know the new. I love the new. Who doesn't love the new car? I'm going to come in there and smell it.
I'm always going to love that. If
all
it's
right.
like
we got Vinny Rottino, Brewers TV analyst. I guess MLB.com.brewers. Baseball.
Watch when you want to.
Yeah.
But $19.99 a month.
Yeah.
$100 a year.
Vinny Rottino coming up on the Mason Crosby Show, presented by Verizon. This is the Mason Crosby Show, presented by Verizon. Mason, how was Corporate Crosby yesterday?
Corporate Crosby was good.
Yeah,
it was
the
nice.
Wisconsin Athletic Hall of Fame. Did everybody give you your flowers?
Speaker series. Yeah, I was there with David Kohler. Took pictures with everybody with the Super Bowl trophy. I brought one of my old jerseys, nice and hemmed. To look at, I didn't wear it, but I had it out on display.
You should have
I
auctioned
had my
it
Super
off
Bowl
for,
ring
for bottles of wine.
I have limited numbers of these jerseys.
Oh, is that
so
right?
I gotta choose them wisely.
Yeah.
Choose where I dispose of them wisely.
I just thought Jim would have like a warehouse of them.
No, man. Okay, so here's a fun little fact before we get going. So they only made like 3 of my home jerseys and 3 of my away jerseys every year. Because
kicker.
Because I'm a kicker. They just didn't get torn a lot. There wasn't like a lot of other guys had 5, maybe even 10 jerseys, like offensive linemen that they would have in the back. So I'd go back there and I'm like, okay, well, I guess I only have 3. So, I have a few. I have quite a few, but I have donated and given some away.
Of course. Joining us now on the Mason Crosby Show, presented by Verizon. He'll be on the guest hotline, powered by Gruber Law. One call, that's all. Brewers TV analyst Vinny Rottino. I don't know if you have to get new business cards, Vinny, or how does this whole thing work?
I don't know. I'm still learning as I go here. I think I know about as much as you guys do in terms of who's broadcasting our games this season. I know MLB is doing it, but I think all the kinks are getting worked out, but it is a little bit of a different situation that we're going to kind of run into here. But yeah, new logos, I think new T-shirts. Maybe I'll get my FanDuel tattoo taken off. We'll see. No, I don't actually have one.
No, come on. We know you got Fox Sports Wisconsin, you got Bally's, you got fan. Now you just added to the list.
Yeah.
That's right. Yep. No,
do a henna tattoo this time just in case.
Yeah, no, you're right. Just a washable one for sure.
Exactly. So Tommy was worried the other day when this news was coming out that he was going to have to get an antenna and do all these things. What? How are people going to be able to watch their Brewers? I know for me, it's actually probably the easiest way. I just pay money and they're on MLB TV and I get to watch it. But how will you get to watch it locally?
Yep. So they'll be, if you subscribe to linear cable, which means if you still have a cable box, you're going to be able to watch the games on a channel. We don't know what channel it's going to be. It's not going to be the same numbered channel as FanDuel Sports was, as Bally Sports was, Bally Sports Wisconsin, FanDuel Sports Wisconsin the last couple of seasons. So it's going to be on a new channel. It'll be dead air in between games on that channel. There'll be no other programming besides the games, and that's just how they're going to do it. And it seems to be working in other markets, right? The Arizona Diamondbacks have gone to this model for the last few seasons, as well as the Colorado Rockies last season, the Minnesota Twins last season. So it seems to be something that works. And it seems to be something that the fans do like because there's more cameras. There's, umpire cams and cameras that are coming in with guys from the bullpen and stuff like that. So I think it's going to work out well. It's going to be a good fan experience.
Very nice. So what's your role in all of this? I mean, you're going to still you're going to be popping around, or are you doing live stuff? What's going on your end of things?
Yeah, same role. I'll be it'll be myself, and Rock is still the main guy doing the analyst work in the booth, and then it's going to be myself and Tim Dillard splitting some games up that Rock doesn't do. And then there's also going to be a pre and post game show. And I'm not sure exactly. I know there's going to be a pre and post game show for home games. I'm just not sure exactly if there's going to be a pre and post for away yet. So all those kinks, like I said, are going to get worked out hopefully sooner than later, right? Because the season's right around the corner. But they'll figure it out.
Pitchers and catchers report in about 20 minutes, Vinny.
Oh,
so.
wow, really?
No, not that soon. But, in the next week or so, baseball's here. The Super Bowl's on Sunday. Once we're done with the Super Bowl, it's baseball season.
Yeah, this is a great time of year to be a sports fan, right? Just because of the Super Bowl, the NFL playoffs, and then with spring training right around the corner. And it signals to all of us that this awful winter is going to come to an end very, very soon because this has been one of the worst winters ever. And so, yeah, spring training is kind of a signal to everybody here in the state that it's coming. But yeah, it's sooner than later, right? Because of the World Baseball Classic. So guys are getting to spring training a little bit earlier than in seasons past, just because they got to ramp up to get ready for that World Baseball Classic. And there's going to be a number of Brewers participating in that, including, Sal Frelick with Team Italy, right? And Joey Ortiz with Team Mexico. And so, yeah, it's going to be – and Bryce Terang is going to be the starting second baseman for Team USA. So a lot of exciting things. Jackson Churio, Team Venezuela. So, I'm really excited for that tournament as well.
Vinny, let's keep it – Vinny Rottino talking to us here on the Mason Crosby Show. Let's stay on that topic just for a second here, because what the hell is going on with this insurance problem right now in the World Baseball Classic? It's basically, from what I'm reading, like – it's more expensive to get this insurance and harder to get this coverage since the 2023 WBC because of some of the injuries that happened in that time frame, a la Edwin Diaz being one of those guys. And the insurance would typically cover if something happened that contract. Well, if you get denied of that, now your team has to assume that risk. Like Puerto Rico might not have a team this year because of this now. And I just wanted to hear some of your thoughts on it, of what's going on with this insurance dilemma right now at the WBC, and how is Major League Baseball working to avoid this in the future if they can't this year?
I don't know how they're going to avoid it, just because these guys that are quote unquote uninsurable, they would have to risk their entire salary and then go ahead and play in the WBC. Now, no one's pressuring those guys to do so. And everyone's kind of on the side of, okay, you guys got to figure this out somehow, some way, because Team Puerto Rico, they're not going to have Francisco Lindor in the tournament. They're not going to have Carlos Correa in the tournament. And so some of these big name guys, and it's such an important tournament for some of these Latin American countries and areas like Puerto Rico. Obviously it's a region of the US. So it's tough because you want to have your biggest and brightest stars at the event, in the event. Remember, Clayton Kershaw was uninsured last time, and he really wanted to pitch for Team USA. So, Edwin Diaz getting hurt in a celebration to go to advance in the tournament last time around was not a good thing, because, I think it's caused some pause for the insurers to go ahead and insure these guys' contracts. So let's not forget, these contracts are quite massive at this point in baseball and in every sport, right? So the insurers have to kind of cover that if a player does get hurt. And so they got to do their due diligence. I don't know what the answer would be. That's over my pay grade, Thomas. So we'll figure that out. Hopefully in the future.
On that side of things, then, so like this World Baseball Classic has like the MLB doesn't have any like influence in that. Is that like how that works? Like, I mean, is it, they're not covering, obviously they're going and playing in something else. Is that, as I'm assuming, is that how it works for the Olympics as well? Like, say if you go and you get tapped, like some of these guys, the NFL is going to have flag football. Like, if that's the case, like those are some big contracts. And like you're saying, Puerto Rico, some of these countries, some of these contracts are as big as like their whole country's GDP, right? So that's fascinating to know. And it's interesting if the MLB doesn't like basically operate and run it, then it's surprising in a sense that some of these guys play in that for sure.
Right. Yeah. And Mason, I'm not exactly sure exactly. I'm under the assumption that each country and region and team has a different insurer, I believe, or each league. So like the NPB in Japan, do they have a different process for their league and those contracts? Yes, they do. And I don't know who's insuring those as opposed to the MLB. Now, quite a bit different discrepancy in terms of the dollar value of those contracts as opposed to MLB, obviously. So I'm not exactly sure how it works. I would imagine that the MLB, the Major League Baseball, would want to step in and make sure that everybody and the biggest and brightest stars are playing in the tournament, because again, it is an opportunity for the game to gain popularity throughout the world. That tournament is very, very important to a lot of those countries, as well as the U.S., right? Japan, I believe they throw parades if they win. They won last time. Shohei Ohtani striking out Mike Trout. And so even Nelson Cruz from the Dominican Republic, a former Milwaukee Brewer and a friend of mine, has said publicly, he said, look, this is bigger than the World Series for the Dominican Republic. So that is very interesting to hear. And so, yes, you somehow, some way want to make sure that the biggest and brightest stars are playing in it.
Vinny Rottino joining us here on the Mason Crosby Show. Can you tell how far I go back with Vinny as he dropped a Thomas last time out there? Yeah, I know. I love it. Vinny, let's get into Brewers, right? I mean, we talked about spring training. It's coming up. How excited are you for this team? There's been, mixed emotions about this offseason right now. The Brewers just spent a little over $1 million only this winter, but the team won 97 games last year, Vinny. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. How are you feeling about the team going into 26?
What do you mean if it's not broke, don't fix it? They got rid of their best starting pitcher.
Look,
apparently something's broken.
Well, look, and I told everybody on that note, Sparky, I told everybody, like, whenever anyone would ask me, are they going to go ahead and trade Freddie Peralta? And I would say quite plainly, if they do, that means they got a huge package for him. And they really did. They have 1 year left of control of Freddie Peralta. And look, I get it. They have to operate this way. They cannot compete and they cannot sustain a winning team and a winning roster without doing this, because they're just not going to be able to pay these massive contracts. I can't believe some of the dollar values that are being thrown around. $60 million really for Kyle Tucker. I mean, there's no way that the Brewers could ever play in that pool, in that pond, because look, they just cannot and do not generate those kinds of revenues, being the smallest market team in baseball. And look, I'm not an apologist for ownership in any way. I mean, I actually think they do a very good job, quite frankly, in sustaining this winning success. 97 wins last year. So they just have to do it this way. I do like their roster a lot. Now, they are going to have to answer some questions on the starting pitching side of things, like Brandon Woodruff. What is he going to give you? They're hoping for 150 innings, but, he came back from that major shoulder surgery. He looked great. You hope that the velocity is back. You hope that the health is back. Quinn Priester, Jacob Mizorowski. Quinn Priester's kind of he seems like he is going to be a solid staple in that rotation going forward. Jacob Mizorowski, though, look, guys, in my opinion, he is still a question mark that he has to prove that he can be a consistent starting pitcher at the major league level, throw strikes, be consistent with his stuff. I think Chad Patrick is probably going to be slotted in, and then the rest is remains to be seen. Now, what they do have going for them, guys, is they have a ton of depth at the starting pitching position, right? So they have Brandon Sproat, they have Robert Gasser, they have DL Hall, who could potentially start. I know I'm missing some guys. Logan Henderson, he's going to be healthy. So they have a bunch of different options to fill into that fourth or fifth spot, whoever they decide to go with. But I do love their roster, guys. 97 wins. Their offense looked great last year. Caleb Durbin is going to have to back up what he did last year at third base. And so I'm excited for this year as any. Now the NL Central has gotten stronger, right? The Pittsburgh Pirates even added a couple of bats, added a couple of names, and their starting pitching is great. The Reds just added Eugenio Suarez for very cheap. And I'm saying $15 million is cheap comparably to the rest of the league, but the Cubs added some things. So it's going to be another fun summer. I cannot wait for it to get started. But yeah, I'm expecting the Brewers to come out on top again in that NL Central.
Do you think, Vinny, we're going to see any of these? It was fun watching last summer, some of these young prospects, coming up through the rank. Like, do you think we'll see any of those this year? Or are they still a year or two out?
Yeah, I can envision. I would doubt if you're talking about the Jesus Mate, who's the number 3 prospect number 3 prospect in all of baseball. Then Luis Pena is number 26 in all of baseball.
That's right.
You do have a Cooper Pratt who is a little bit more polished, and they know what they're getting with the glove. Now the bat has to show up this year. He's going to probably start the year and be in AAA most of the year. Now, if he starts swinging the bat really well, and we know that he's given great defense, he won a minor league Gold Glove a couple of years ago. That's how good the defense is already. And he's only 20 years old. If he starts to swing the bat real well and Joey Ortiz continues to struggle, maybe they make that switch. But I'm a Joey Ortiz, talk about an apologist or believer. I am a Joey Ortiz believer. He just has done a phenomenal job with the glove. He did hit 2 years ago. If he hits again, this Brewers team might win more than 97 games, just because I think he is that good with the glove and just making unbelievable plays up the middle. So he's going to be a big part of this thing this year. But yeah, some of their prospects, it will be fun to watch who comes up. Jet Williams is going to be a big part of this season for sure. I mean, he played all year or some of the year last year in AAA, and he was part of that Freddie Peralta.
Yeah, I was going to ask about him. Like, yeah, just kind of some inside, some information on like what we can expect from Jet Williams.
He's a Brewers guy, right? He's 5'7". I think Pat Murphy hilariously said they're going to have to move the soap dispensers down a little bit just because everybody's under 5'9" and under between Durbin, Jet Williams, Joey Ortiz. Bryce Terang's not a big guy. But yeah, so it's going to be Jet Williams is a Brewers guy. He's a grinder. He controls the strike zone well. He battles with 2 strikes. He's got a little pop in the bat. He seems like a Durbin with, just with more tools. Caleb Durbin's a great player, and he gets the most out of his tool set. But Jet Williams seems like he's a little bit faster. He's got a little bit more pop. He's a little bit better when you passing the eye test with the glove. He can play both center and short. He's exciting. I'm glad that they got him. I'm surprised that they got him. The Mets gave up a lot in that Freddie Peralta, 1 year of control of Freddie Peralta. I'm assuming that they're going to try and extend him, something that the Brewers wouldn't have been able to do.
Do you see his future at shortstop or center field or other?
I haven't really bared down on what he can do at both positions. Everything that I'm hearing is that it is a major league shortstop and it is a major league center fielder. So that is a rare combination to be able to play both and do both well.
Now they got Robin Yount. They got Robin Yount.
Yeah, 5'7" version of Yount that might not be a Hall of Famer, but yeah, similar profile for sure.
Vinny, I wanted to ask you, you got your jersey up in the back there for Team Italy. We'll bring it back to the WBC just real quick. It's topical. I wanted to know, just for you, your major league career goes in, a bunch of different directions, and you come up a little bit in the Brewers. You have the cup of coffee, but you get to go represent your country. And we had on Nick Baumgartner just a couple of days ago, who is going to be in his 5th Olympics now, snowboarding for Team USA. And I mean, he fired us all up during that. It was ridiculous. And I wanted to ask you, playing for Team Italy in the as you can for the national team, what does that mean for you?
It meant a lot. First of all, I think it was kind of a rumor and kind of a joke, but I think it's true how they picked the team for the WBC for Team Italy. It was they took about half of the roster was native Italian guys. The other half of the roster was they looked at 40-man rosters and checked to see which last names ended in a vowel. And so that was the way that I got on the club. But it meant a lot just because you were playing alongside these native Italian players, and we're playing for a native Italian manager, but then also Tom Trebelhorn was on staff. Mike Hargrove was on staff. Mike Piazza was on staff. So you had this group of between major leaguers and then Italian players. And then everybody was just so fired up. Jason Greeley was the closer of that team. And
Pirate.
Pittsburgh Pirate. And he got the last out of a game against Team Canada to beat Canada. And I can't tell you, he was more fired up. I've never seen him more fired up than he was in that game. And then the whole team just kind of, had each other's backs, and it was just really pulling for each other. We played up at the Rogers Center in Toronto and beat Team Canada in game 1 of pool play. Then ended up losing to Venezuela a couple of times. So it was awesome. It was so much fun. And like I said, tune into that tournament because it is a lot of fun and it's good for the game.
That's awesome. That's
Excellent.
Awesome.
Well, Vinny, thank you so much for jumping on. We'll definitely be catching up with you throughout the season. I'm sure you'll be visiting with Tommy and Tim Allen as well from time to time. And we'll figure out where to watch you. We're on this wild ride together of all these new media deals and stuff like that. So we're here for it.
Awesome. Can't wait. Anytime, guys. Thanks for having me on. Thanks, Thomas.
Thomas. Yeah, you're welcome, yes. Vincent. I got it. Yeah.
Brewers TV analyst Vinny Rottino joining us on the guest hotline powered by Gruber Law. One call. That's all. Plenty to get to. Peter Bukowski, Locked On Packers, is going to join us at the top of the 1 o'clock hour. Brian, is Goody talking now?
I'm recording
Thomas?
on it right
now.
Nice. Yeah,
I'm sure
a
lot of hot takes.
I'm sure no, but
I think just calling Thomas is the hottest.
That was the hottest take of the show. That was the hottest take for sure.
Let's go. Actually, the hottest take is who's going to be on Hot Stove Weekly tonight. We'll get to that when we come back here on the Mason Crosby Show, presented by Verizon. This is the Mason Crosby Show. Our thanks again to Vinny Rottino for jumping on, Brewers TV analyst. We are monitoring Brian Gutekunst at the podium. We could go through a bunch of his comments in a second here, Mason. But there is some breaking NBA news as we get closer and closer to the trade deadline tomorrow at 2:00. The Wizards are acquiring Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis, of course, probably a future Hall of Famer.
Yeah, I got the full trade right here. You want me to get it?
Yeah, go ahead.
Dallas Mavericks are trading 10-time NBA All-Star Anthony Davis,
10-time All-Star
Jaden Hardy,
That's
D'Angelo
wild.
Russell, and Dante Exum to the Wizards in exchange for A.J. Johnson.
Yeah, A.J. Johnson, former Buck first-round pick.
Chris Middleton.
Wow.
Chris Middleton, former Buck.
Malachi Branham, Marvin Bagley III, 2 first-round picks, and 3 second-round picks.
So
Jeez.
Dallas gets rid of salary. Yes, they take on Middleton, but they get rid of a number. D'Angelo Russell also has a contract. Dante Exum actually has a contract. So Dallas kind of cleaning house a little bit. They're going nowhere this year, but the hope is that they can turn things around next year with Cooper Flagg and getting Kyrie Irving back healthy. They do not have faith that Anthony Davis can stay healthy. Nobody does. And Washington,
He's been doing it for a while.
Yep. And Washington, we'll see what I don't know. You know, Trae Young and Anthony Davis, can Washington be relevant next season if those guys can be healthy? Who knows?
Yeah, who knows? What about the trade
something.
yesterday? What was that? Harden?
Harden to Cleveland, basically straight up for Darius Garland.
Darius Garland? What y'all think of that one?
That was a terrible trade for Cleveland.
I
hate it.
I mean, I don't know if I hate it, but Cleveland panicking that Donovan Mitchell might not be signing an extension, and Harden working his way out of LA. Like Harden is someone who is a toxic
individual
pretty much everywhere he's been, and made it clear that he was going to be toxic in LA again. And they have Cleveland has an opportunity to compete in the East. I don't know how this is going to go with him and Donovan. There's one ball.
There's only one ball.
There's only one ball. And Harden has matched up with numerous players in the past where they've struggled over the fact that there is one ball. So he's a mess. The other
that could be the Bucks pathway. You know, they start, winning, it's like you sneak in and it's like Cleveland starts crumbling and like,
I don't think they're going to crumble to the point that the Bucks can beat them, but the other interesting one yesterday, Mason, was the 3-teamer between Detroit, Chicago, and Minnesota, where Minnesota literally traded Mike Connolly Jr. to Chicago and got nothing in return, but went from $24 million over the cap to $3 million over the cap. They cut $21 million in that deal in the reported hopes that they can put together a package for Giannis that won't destroy their franchise. Who knows what could happen at this point? But that was the report why they made that part of the deal, is that the Timberwolves really gearing up for a run at Giannis.
That's interesting. Yeah. What does that look like for the Timberwolves in that trade package? I do you see that happening?
What they're talking about is that Julius Randle, Naz Reid, and Jaden McDaniels, 3 of their Naz Reid is kind of a starter, not starter. He's starter quality. He's their 6th man. All 3 of them to the Bucks.
Julius Randle be solid.
Yep, Julius Randle's an all-star. And what the Bucks would need, though, the Timberwolves would need to get a 3rd team involved so they can get a couple of number 1s to Milwaukee as well.
Yeah, exactly.
And listen, if Milwaukee got 3 starters of that quality plus 2 number 1s, I got to have that conversation. I'm probably saying no, but I got to be open to that conversation because those players make the team relevant. They're not a 8th seed 40 and 42 team. They can get to, that's a team that with Rollins and KPJ healthy, they can get to 48, 50 wins.
I'm not.
I don't love it. They're not winning a championship.
But I do think it. I will say, just looking back at like Miles Turner from the Pacers, Miles Turner.
Yep.
You get some of these guys, some young guys. Like you get back to that style maybe that the Pacers played, where he's not like. You're not just like slowing it down, letting Giannis do his thing, trying to like dish the ball to some guys to feed it back to Giannis. Basically, if you get into that style, I think it could unlock Miles Turner a little bit. If you have some of these like a little bit of a different style of player coming in and kind of taking over that team. But I don't know.
Are we in the trust tree right now? Can we say
I
something?
guess.
Yeah. I've switched my mind. Like if they trade Giannis, I'm just gonna be mad. Like at this point. Now I'm seeing all these deals go down, and I'm just thinking that if this guy is getting that package, like there's no trade that I'm gonna be satisfied with. Yeah. And
It's hard to
admittingly,
imagine a trade. Yeah.
admittingly, like a week ago, I was like, I just want to stop talking about this and trade him. Go ahead. Now I'm in the boat of, well, if they make it through one more day, we don't have to really talk about it as much anymore. And
Right.
I don't love any of these trades that are happening for the Milwaukee Bucks.
But with that said, I'm going to be mad if they don't make any trades. Like I said this on the show yesterday. I said this on Crosstalk with Kuhn and Rami. Like I get that John Horst is busy getting all these calls for Giannis and making all these counter offers for Giannis, but he's got a roster of 15 other guys that he's got to clean up. He's got to clean up Bobby. He's got to clean up Kuzma. He's got to clean up Trent. He's got to clean up Turner. And that doesn't mean trade all those guys, but he's got to figure out if they're trading them or not. And I just hope that Horst
how
and
it
staff,
fits together better, right? Yeah, because it's just like this team as it's created it's just not working.
And so there's a due diligence that needs to be done.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So that's what I'm waiting for is while all these other teams are making these trades, it doesn't have to be Giannis, but the Bucks got to figure out their roster base.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. I love due diligence.
Yeah.
Just do the work. At least uncover every possibility, and then we can go from there.
You would have hated me back in the day because I hated Ted Thompson because I didn't think he did his due diligence as general manager when it came to free agents and trades. He was great with the draft, but I argued for years, and everybody loved Ted Thompson, and I did not. But I'm watching Ryan Wood's Twitter right now, Mason. He's got all the stuff from Goody, and we're going to talk to Peter Bukowski from Locked On Bucks about all the things that's going on with the Packers in the offseason next, right here on the Mason Crosby Show, presented by Verizon.
A Super Bowl champion.
The Green Bay Packers have won the Super Bowl.
The Packers' all-time leading scorer.
A game winner for Mason Crosby.
It's time for the Mason Crosby Show with Mitch Nellis, presented by Verizon, the official 5G network of the Green Bay Packers, on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook, and on the free Odyssey app.
This is hour number 2 of the Mason Crosby Show. We're live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Like Big Voice Lady mentioned, we're efforting Peter Bukowski. Mason, you got to spend some time over at the Potawatomi. How'd that go for you?
It was great. Yeah. I got met some new people while I was having a little snack at the sports book. So it's always a good time over there.
I love how I walked over and I was like, dude, we're having dinner in 2 hours. You're eating like a sandwich. You got fries.
I was starving.
Yeah. You had not eaten all day, right?
Yeah, exactly. Got up and traveled. Like it just, I was ready to roll. I went right to work over at the Baird Center doing the autograph signing stuff. And
nice.
It was good. It was a busy time. It's good to be back home, chasing kids around, doing that stuff.
Absolutely. So we've got Anthony Davis traded to the Wizards in an 8-player deal. We just got word. A minor deal that I love, Mason.
Okay.
Jared McCain, who went to Duke, was having a great rookie year for the Sixers last year, and then got hurt. Broke his. I don't know if he tore something or broke something, but he's back now with the Sixers. They just traded him to the Thunder for the Rockets' #1 pick, which will probably be like mid-20s, and a couple second-round picks. But the Thunder have been dealing. Their #2 guy, Jalen Williams, has been in and out of the lineup with injury. Jared, the Thunder just get richer. Jared McCain going to there for basically a pick they don't need and had no interest in.
Yeah.
The Thunder, man, they're just so smart. Man.
Savvy. Yeah, they're building something long term over there.
They really are.
They're gonna be tough for a while.
More young talent, and it's not like the 24th overall pick where it's could be hit or miss. We know Jared McCain can play NBA ball.
Yeah, he's a ball player.
Exactly.
No, I love that. That's savvy stuff, and I mean, I think they will be in a window here for a long period of time, and it's you just gotta, again, with our Bucks team, it's just you hope that they can find even if it's a 3-year window,
right.
You just gotta find those pockets of time.
Joining us now on the guest hotline, powered by Gruber Law, one call, that's all. Locked on Packers himself, Mr. Peter Bukowski. Peter, how are you today?
I'm trying to build a contender for a long time in Green Bay. Maybe could that happen?
You tell us.
Everyone got extended, so I mean that's the plan. Is that we have the leadership in place to do it. So tell us what you're hearing. What Goody, he just had his press conference.
Yeah.
What are you feeling up there?
Do we hit Brian Gutekunst's press conference bingo? We think that we believe in our team. We believe in our guys. I've got a lot of faith in Rich Bisaccia. We're going to go through the process. We feel good about our flexibility. I mean, guys, I could have held this press conference before he had it, and we'd have hit every note.
I know. That's kind of the thing. And I said that. I'm like, what better time than now where you all just get extended to just kind of do something a little different, right? Let's not just stay status quo. We stayed status quo. We, extended the guys that were there. Now let's say it. Let's shoot it straight. We're going to make these changes. There's got to be some hard decisions that need to be made. We're going in a direction that is going to be uncomfortable at times because we're trying to win championships. Do you think that is possible with this mentality to chase and do hard things and go win championships?
I think you have to be having those conversations behind closed doors or you're going to remain static. I mean, I think that's just the reality of it. Now, whether or not it's prudent for the GM to go out and say that in public, I think that there's a reasonable case to be made that the general manager needs to project confidence outwardly while internally being willing to say to Matt LaFleur, hey, some of these games where you got hyper conservative, can't have that anymore. And understanding that there needs to be difficult conversations where they believe they need to be happening. What would concern me, guys, is if as an organization, they truly believed that difficult conversations didn't need to be had. That you don't need to, I mean, we heard Micah Parsons. I know you guys heard the quote from Micah Parsons at the end of the year about effort, about conditioning. That felt directly aimed at Rashawn Gary, right? Without saying Rashawn Gary, that felt like it was directly aimed at him. okay, what's the future of Rashawn Gary? $28 million on the cap this year. The hard conversation would be, actually, it's so problematic that his effort is so bad and he's getting so paid that this guy just can't be on the team anymore. Financial considerations be damned. Like that to me would show, okay, they are serious about making some real change culturally to this team. I had Evan Williams on with me yesterday from Radio Row, and he talked about the details and he talked about the blown assignments. Like, when are we going to stop talking about how young this team is? But you're veterans now, like, right? Like you're a veteran by the time you're October of your rookie season. You got to be a veteran. You got to be ready to go play. And the details have been lacking. How do you institutionally ensure that that's not the case moving forward? And I think that's one of the reasons, guys, they picked Jonathan Gannon over someone like Jim Leonard, is because they wanted that piece of stability. That, because detail was the word that came to me most often when I asked about Jonathan Gannon. Before the Packers hired him, it was, this guy is going to have everyone on their details. That 2022 Eagles team was as detailed a defense as you will watch. I love the advanced numbers, guys. That 2022 Eagles defense. So efficiency adjusted for schedule, they were the best passing defense in the NFL. The gap between them at 1 and the Bills at 2 was the same as the gap between the second best team and the 18th best team. That's how much better that defense was than everybody else against the pass.
Well, because the year he left, right? Like they had a very they didn't lose a lot of guys, but they just weren't as good without him, right?
They added Jalen Carter and Nolan Smith and got way worse.
Wow.
Like that, I think that tells you something. Like when we hear coaches all the time, like Mason, I know you've heard coaches, Thunder, I know you've heard coaches in press conferences all the time. Like, hey, we want to adapt to our guys. We want to do what's best for our players. Every coach says that. Well, I think Jonathan Gannon can actually say, look at my resume. Google me, right? The Kurt Signetti. Like, I did that. Look at with the same guys the next year. In fact, I would argue better talent. They were a way worse defense. And that to me says coaching.
That's good. Yeah, I like that a lot. And so something I was thinking about, like for our first comments, is there's a lot of guys, so like in that building that aren't in that building anymore, that the only ones that I ever had those tough conversations, they had tough conversations with me about like what I was doing on the field and what I needed to do better and things like that. They have gone off and done other things, and they are other places. Some of those guys are Elliot Wolf and John Schneider, John Dorsey, Alonzo Highsmith. Like they have gone and they've left that building, and they haven't brought back in that type of person. I mean, maybe John Eric Sullivan going down to Miami, he might be one of those guys. I feel like, unfortunately, at times, like the ones with the voices and the ones that like will do those hard things, they're not long for the Green Bay Packers space, because it's just kind of like, all right, well, this is how we do it. If you want to do that, you got to go somewhere else.
Well, I think also though that think about all the names you just mentioned. They're successful general managers now, and the Packers just keep churning out those guys. So isn't there something that's happening institutionally in the way that front office is managed that continues to prepare these guys for those moments? I mean, I think that would be the optimistic way to view this. Is it's just next man up in the best possible way, because this goes back. I mean, Ron Wolf hired Brian Gutekunst. That's the crazy part. And so it's not just, the Ron Wolf. No, Ron Wolf hired Brian Gutekunst and trained him and came up in that system. And everyone that gets hired out of it. I mean, I thought Reggie McKenzie got a raw deal in I guess they were in Oakland then, right? So John Dorsey now built multiple Super Bowl teams. Elliot Wolf in 2 years has built a Super Bowl team. I mean, I think there is something in the water in that front office in the way that they handle business that makes it work. I think I look around the league though, guys, and those hard conversations, what you hear from fans is, well, that's got to come from ownership. Like if you have an owner who can go to a star player and say, hey man, we need more from you. Is Ed Policy that guy? Because I think Mark Murphy could have been that guy if he needed to be. I don't think he always felt like he needed to be. But I don't know if Ed Policy is gonna have the gravitas or even the desire to do that. And I think if there's one place, I've always been the guy that says the Packers do not need an owner. I do not want them to have an owner. Owners are almost always malevolent forces on an organization, especially on the football side. But I think that's the one place, to your point, that there could be a benefit to someone putting their arm around you, someone who has got real pull in that organization, not just your coach, and saying, hey, look, we need more out of you, or we need this, or we need that.
Yeah, for sure. We got Peter Bukowski joining the Mason Crosby show. Are you out there at the Super Bowl?
Yeah, the low din you hear in the background is the absolute chaos that is Radio Row here in San Francisco. It is wild. I was talking to Matt Hasselbeck yesterday. I told him I was at We Want the Ball and we're going to score. And you know what he told me? I'd do it again.
I'd do it again.
Good. You know what? Good. I like that.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Own it.
Wait, Mason, can I ask you a question?
Yeah, sure.
I know that's not my job.
No, it's good. We like
but,
the reverse interview.
But so I was having a conversation with Evan Williams yesterday, as I mentioned, and I said, the Bears view the Packers very differently than the Packers view the Bears. They have that little brother energy, that F you, F them, and we heard it, right? And Ben Johnson is saying at the podium, I'm bringing that energy. It seems to me that this Bears team is now dangerous enough. The Packers have to meet that. Like, they've always acted like they're above this rivalry, or at least for the last 20 years, because it hasn't been a rivalry, right? They've just won all these games. Well, the last 5 games have come down to the last possession. I feel like, do you feel like the Packers need to start meeting that energy, or can they continue with this, like, well, we're the Packers, we don't engage that way?
Yeah, I do. I don't know if you want to go like into that back and forth with them, but you do have to take it seriously. And honestly, my time there, it was always still that conversation of, this is a big rivalry. This is a big game. And I don't know if they're still, I mean, I'm sure they're having those conversations, but it needs to turn up a notch. They aren't the Bears that they were, 4 years ago. They've gotten a good head coach. They've gotten a coach that is intentionally trying to take the Packers down and do it a different way. So yeah, you do have to change your focus and your mindset. And that comes from Matt LaFleur, and that comes from the top of the demand and exact detail of how you attack that. You can't go play their game. You can't stoop down to that level, but you can't say, hey, we're just better because we do things better. They have now taken a step where they're doing things better in a different way. So now you have to say, all right, how are we going to just adjust and recreate a level of dominance that we can take the Bears back down to where they need to be?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying Matt LaFleur should go out and, say F the Bears or anything like that. I just feel like you need a little bit of that energy. And Evan Williams said that. He was like, look, I feel like I was successful in part because I play that way all the time. But he sort of hinted like, hey, we need everyone to kind of bring that same sort of edge and energy to every game, really, because it is every game. Like Jeff Jagosinski, a former offensive coordinator, he's on our Locked On Packers squad shows, and he's got this great phrase: every Sunday you're eligible for an ass kicking. And if you don't bring that energy, you're going to get your ass kicked. Like that's just the reality. There is no our little sister of perpetual sorrow. There's no Alabama A&M in week 1. Like, if you don't go out and play your best and you don't play detailed, you're going to get beat. And nowhere was that more evident than the Packers last season, right?
Well, and Peter and Mason, you got to do that for 60 minutes, and you got to do it on all sides of the ball, not just offense and defense. You got to do it on special teams, and you can't do it for 55 minutes. You can't do it for 58 or 59. You got to do it for all 60.
Right. And Peter, off of that, I just want to ask, like, how much of that do you think they lose with Hafley leaving the building, or how much of the difference is that with a guy like Gannon coming in? And does Rich Bisaccia contribute to that at all? Because they're rocking back with him, it sounds like, again, too.
Well, Gannon is not as high energy as Jeff Hafley, but I think that's one of the reasons why you bring in someone like Bobby Babich. And Babich, I was really impressed with the coaching job that he did in Buffalo with a defense that, frankly, I don't think was that talented, guys. Like, you look at that team, player for player, there's no way they should have even sniffed a top 10 defense last year. But they were good at disguise. They were a disciplined defense, and I think that's what this like. Again, Evan Williams was not going to say anything bad about Jeff Hafley, but he seemed really excited at the idea of being able to be a little bit more multiple, getting more DBs on the field, getting Javon Bullard, Evan Williams, and Xavier McKinney on the field all together. I think that energy really has to come from the players. I mean, Aaron Rodgers talks about this all the time. The best teams he was a part of were player-led teams. I think the culture consistently has to come from the players. And you look at it like the Legion of Boom Seahawks. Pete Carroll is a high energy guy, but that was because Richard Sherman and Bobby Wagner and Earl Thomas were maniacs. You need some maniacs on your team if you want to have that sort of energy.
Well, Crosby's never brought that up on this show ever.
What's that?
Player-led being the best teams he was being a part of.
I've been in those rooms, all that. Like, a coach is not going to say something that's going to just like on, like, say a Saturday night, that's going to be like, oh my gosh, like now I'm going to play like a different way tomorrow, right? Like the team, the locker room, it's built throughout the off season, through training camp, through that week of preparation. You are who you are, and you're ready to go, and you're ready to go to war with your teammates. Like, the coaches they're off the field. They're not on that field whenever you go out there and you go to battle. So it is so important for the team. And it's great to hear Evan Williams, to hear Micah Parsons. We need to maybe hear some of that dog and that stuff from the other side of the ball as well, which is fascinating that now Hafley took a head coaching job. You got Gannon, who is building an incredible defensive staff. I feel like his staff right now is exceptional. But I would love to see that fire and that energy from that offensive side of the ball. Like, nobody can stop us because we are going to execute and be detailed at the highest of level, not from a place of arrogance, but from a place of we are just going to out-prepare and outperform you every day and every snap. Do you feel like the offense, and is that kind of the feel like what you were saying with like LaFleur and his reaction and how he views the Bears and some of these rivalries? Does it come across as like it's kind of like arrogant? I just don't even I don't even listen. I don't even know who those guys are. Would you rather it be like, yeah, I respect like what they are doing, and now we are going to go and out-prepare and outperform them every time we step on the field?
I think that the Packers too, like they tried with this offensive line to go bigger with those guys and to bring a little bit of that nasty, to bring a little bit of that physicality, and it unfortunately just hasn't worked. They've not been able to recreate some of the power run that, say, the Rams have done when they've gone to bigger offensive linemen. I think you do need it to be an organizational mentality, but I think we can say like this shift toward the bigger guys has just not worked with Aaron Banks. I know he's been banged up. Anthony Belton, like they played him at tackle and then he ends up having to play guard. Jordan Morgan, he's auditioning at left tackle but ends up having to play guard. Like, I think some of those things have just not worked. And had they worked, like the Packers in the second half against the Bears, the offensive line got their butts kicked. And it's still ultimately, like, mentality or no, it's still about winning in the trenches. All the quarterbacks, all the passing game, all that great stuff. Jordan Love throws for 300 yards and 4 touchdowns, but they couldn't run the ball in the second half to save their lives. You're just not going to be able to win football games with that being the case. And that, like, for Matt LaFleur, this offense is predicated on being able to run the ball and then get into your play action game and take those shots. And when they can't do that, you got to play left-handed a little bit. And I think that, as much as I've been the let Jordan Love cook guy talking about this team, you have to be able to run the ball too to be an effective offense. Look at the Seahawks offense. When they run the ball, you can't beat them. Like, you just can't. They're just too diverse. Their defense is too good. They create explosive plays in the passing game. And when they run the ball, they're basically unstoppable. I think the Packers would be the same way. They just haven't been able to do that. And I don't know if that's a mentality thing. I think that they had the right idea with what they were trying to do. They just didn't quite pull it off.
Can I go a little off script here with some breaking news? LaFleur and Hackett back together as Nathaniel Hackett hired as the offensive coordinator of the Arizona Cardinals. Yes, he's going down there after Mike LaFleur obviously just got the head coaching job.
That was cute, Tommy.
You like that? Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, it was some.
Yeah.
I didn't appreciate that, Tommy.
All right, sorry. My bad, Pete. I can't be big Radio Row guy, so I got to break news if I can.
It's official too. I texted Nathaniel and I said, hey, if you need just like a quality control assistant that maybe will work like an hour a day, and I can just come hang out and play some golf, I'll be there anytime.
I mean, he's going to take an hour off of this show, so
Mason to Phoenix.
That's right. So, my question then too there, like you talked about offensive line. Do you see anyone on this roster on that offensive line that will be that enforcer, the guy that sets the tempo? Because I look back at my teams and you had TJ Lang, Josh Sitton, Brian Bulaga, when it was Scott Wells, Corey Lindsley, like had the stuff that was going on with Jordan Love, like the shots that were taken on him, some of these things. not like they would have done anything like egregiously outside the rules and dirty, but they would have taken it upon themselves to like reset the balance of like, you're not going to mess with our team. Do you see any of that from this offensive line on this Packers team right now?
Yeah, I think that when you watch the way that Anthony Belton plays, I mean, every time Matt LaFleur was asked about Anthony Belton, he said he brings nasty and physicality. I mean, it's got to be someone like that. I think Jordan Morgan plays with an edge. I mean, I think that he was ill-suited at guard, but I think at tackle, you know, he's a big physical guy. And so you need to have those guys who are willing to, like when that hit happened, and then we hear after the fact Josh Jacobs say, you know, our locker room, we didn't like that very much. Okay, show me.
Yeah.
Show me. Don't talk about it. Be about it. And that's what you need. And when you have the Josh Sittons and the David Bakhtiaris and the TJ Langs on social media saying this would never have happened for us,
right.
You're talking about, you know, guys that are Packers Hall of Famers calling out the current guys. We don't like usually this is a brotherhood, right? Like you don't usually see stuff like that happening. And I think that tells you that they need to get something figured out here. Like whether that's just like, hey, come over. Part of it too, though, is Matt LaFleur is big on like, you know, don't personal foul penalties and that kind of stuff. I do wonder if he kind of let guys off the leash a little bit to you know get in the face of other guys without being stupid, without being Keyshawn Nixon. I'm going to jump on the pile nonsense. I mean, come on. The fakest tough guy on the Packers right now is in 25.
Yep.
And we saw, I mean, I know people like to make the joke, but like there was in the Pro Bowl, he could have gone and grabbed Joe Burrow's flag and let him walk right in. It looked just like the play in the playoff game. It's like, come on, dude. You can't get these silly personal foul penalties and act like you're a big tough guy and then not at the goal line meet DeAndre Swift in the hole, try and punch the ball out. Again, former Packer Will Blackman pointed that out on Twitter. We don't normally see former players do that kind of stuff. And that tells you that there is, I think, just from a player standpoint, you got to find the right players to bring that edge because it's got to be from the players.
For sure. Fellas, y'all got anything else? I mean, I could keep going on that for a while if you want, because I've been saying, I said it all year, like there's just something, and it doesn't need to be like, again, that's where it's like discipline, physicality, discipline, like taking your shot and doing certain things. Like we, you know, if someone hits your quarterback, somebody's got to have that guy. And like they always talked about in that offensive line, the Cobra strike, and you grab that guy and you're going to let him know that like the rest of his night is not going to be fun. Like it's got to be an intimidation, not an arrogance of we're just going to be better than you. And we're going to have the X's and O's and scheme you up so that like, it's going to be complicated. It needs to shift to, we are going to out physical and dominate you, and we were going to play to the edge of the whistle every time, because that's how the Bears ended up winning late in those games. Like I heard fans, we were complaining. It's like, somewhat cheap shots. There were things but they played on an edge, and that got them over the hump late in games. And you have to kind of push it to that limit, and that's the only way to get to that next level.
I have nothing to add. Absolutely agree.
Drop the mic, Mace.
Mic drop.
Nicely done. Peter, are you going to find CM Punk today? Who you on a mission?
I just saw him talking to Kevin Clark. I talked to Mike Mayock earlier. He had a lot of nice things to say about Elliott Wolf and John Snyder. And this has been a really fun day here. It is crazy impact here, and everyone is. The game is the sideshow right now because no one's that excited about the game, to be honest.
Who do you think's going to win, Peter? Who's your pick?
I mean, I like the Seahawks, and I like them big. I don't think this is a particularly close game, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Patriots muck it up, and it's one of those 17-14 kind of games that we're just sort of like, why did we all spend 4 hours watching that?
There'll be great commercials, right?
No.
No. They have gotten worse over the years. That used to be a staple.
Where are you watching the game?
I'll be back home. I fly out Friday. If the Packers had been here, I would have stayed, but they made some mistakes.
If the Packers were there, we'd be doing this in person right now, Peter.
For sure.
Oh yes. Well, maybe next year.
Yep. All right. Peter Bukowski, Locked On Packers. Thank you so much for taking the time today. We'll catch up with you soon.
All right, guys.
All right. That's Peter Bukowski, Locked On Packers, joining us on the guest hotline powered by Gruber Law. One call, that's all. Remember, if you miss anything on the Mason Crosby Show and you want a link to the podcast, text the word well, it's not a word. Text the name Crosby to the text line 414-677-1250. What, Tom, like, Tommy, you mad at me?
No, it's just like Mitch
You
got
corrected yourself.
like
That was what was
I have to
amazing.
be right. I have to be
Mitch
right.
is my mother. Mitch is the same person. Like, and
all right, Mason, you got to. So 2 days ago, I would have said like, oh, Tommy's mom, like she's of a certain age, way, certainly older than me. And now that I've turned 50, I'm like, she's only a couple years older than me. I don't know if I'm in the same bracket with her now.
Crosby is from Old Norse / English,
Right.
and it means settlement by the cross. So it is a word.
Not in any live language.
And Mitch, happy belated birthday. We didn't get to talk to you yesterday.
Yeah, thanks for the text message, bro.
I know. Gosh, yeah. What happened yesterday?
Were you busy?
Yesterday was
you were corporate Crosby and
corporate Crosby happened. Yeah.
Can you send me like a gift certificate to somewhere so I can just eat like 1,000 oysters? Because that video you did last night made me hungry.
They were tasty.
I know it's about the wine, but I'm gonna, I love the oysters.
If you didn't listen to Mitch, the East Coast Oysters won in the. I picked the Seahawks to win the game, but the East Coast Oysters took the cake there.
Somebody asked me today who I'm cheering for in the game.
Yeah, exactly.
I think they were kidding. He's Mason Crosby. Oh, by the way, so text Crosby to 414-677-1250 and you get a link to all our show's podcast. So then you can catch up because we do start at high noon as Mason Crosby, just to let you know. Thanks again to Peter Bukowski for jumping on. That was great. We will react more to what Brian Gutekunst had to say. We'll talk more about the NBA trade deadline, which is now 24 hours and 32 minutes away. So 24 hours basically till the NBA trade deadline. Bucks won last night. They're playing again at home tonight. I think I'm going to the game.
Nice.
Maybe nice. I don't know. I don't know
it's
now.
Always fun.
I don't know if it's nice to go to a Bucks game right now. I'm on the fence about that one. He's Mason Crosby. He's Tommy Wirtz. I'm Mitch Nellis, aka Thunder. We are the Mason Crosby Show, presented by Verizon. We are the Mason Crosby Show, presented by Verizon, the official 5G network of the Green Bay Packers. Peter Bukowski joining us. Man, I just love that everybody's picking the Seahawks. Just keep picking the Seahawks, everybody. The Patriots have been through this once, and they'll go through it again. Let's go.
No one is going to side with you because of this. I just want you to know. Like, no one's going to be like, what? Man, the underdog story of the New England Patriots. Yeah, no one's going to buy that.
Drake May, baby. Drake May. That's all I got to say.
Cool.
Mace, how you doing, bud?
I'm doing all right. I was just looking at some stats, getting ready for this segment. So
what kind of stats, if I may ask?
Well,
Gary?
I think we're gonna react to some of Goody's stuff. So I just saw one of his quotes about Keyshawn Nixon. Keyshawn's my guy.
Nope.
I spent a lot of time with him. We were both rehabbing an injury, so
Keyshawn
I got to know
sucks.
him really early on there. But do we question like Goody in that situation whenever he's like looking at and he's saying that Keyshawn had a really, really good year, and say what qualifies as a good year? Because and honestly, I think Keyshawn's a good run corner. Like he does fit in the run game. He's fast, he's physical, has some real good tangible things. But if you just look at he's ranked 39th for cornerbacks with a 67.1 PFF grade.
That doesn't sound good.
He was 6th in the NFL with pass deflections, but only 1 interception. So he's not like getting takeaways.
Yep.
He was 44th in completion percentage, 60% against him. You can't, that's not a number one corner, right?
No.
You're not a lockdown. You're not a number one corner. He might be better in the slot. He was 16th in the slot. But that was pretty much half. That was like 50%, because that's out of 32 cornerbacks in slot coverage. So I don't know. I mean, he has great speed, good all some of those tangible things. But like Goody also said, there's not like a wholesale change that they're looking to make at the corner, at the cornerback position.
Well, Mason, is it Goody's job to blow smoke, or is it his job to tell the truth? Because
they also said they were still working on bringing me back in 2023, and that was literally after the call to that wasn't happening. So yes, I think this is just how the Packers operate, right?
Yeah.
It's just they're just going to say good things about the guys because they're on their team, and then who knows? Next, in a couple weeks, Keyshawn might be gone. That's just kind of the status quo up there. And again, I was going to say that to Peter though. Again, in my career, I am thankful that the Packers don't knee-jerk react to bad performance or, moments of things, because also I had a lot of good performances that stacked on top of that as well. But if these other franchises that do knee-jerk react, they go through periods of really bad football for periods of time, right?
Sometimes.
Like these ownerships, these organizations that make snap decisions on players, and then that player goes and does has a good career somewhere else or does other things. So we got to kind of take some of the good with the bad here, right? So it's I think overall how the Packers operate, we can look at here in February of 2026 and we can say, the Packers have a chance next year. They are always built to, if they catch fire, if they put the right pieces together, if everything goes in place, they could make a run and try to go win a Super Bowl. And not many franchises consistently can say that. And so I think we can be happy about that.
No, but the flip side is that they consistently don't achieve their potential. Like I saw there was a tweet that went out yesterday that
the
most wins since 2011.
I was going to bring that up.
Patriots, Chiefs, and who was fourth?
Seahawks.
And they've
all have 3 appearances. The
Kansas City has 6 and New England has 5.
Yeah.
And the Packers are have the third most wins in the NFL since 2011. 0 Super Bowl appearances, and it's
that is tough.
Again, that's our we always have this conflict, right? As Packers fans,
well,
we want the Packers to go 12-5, 11-6 every year. Yeah. That's important. It's important to be competitive. It's important to put yourself in position and give yourself a chance to win the Super Bowl. Because if you're 5-12, you don't even have a chance. But if you're consistently going 11-6, 12-5, 10-7, whatever it is, and not making the Super Bowl, and you make it part of almost, it's like part of their persona at this point. The Packers are going to succeed in the regular season and fail in the postseason. Like at some point, but it's not like it's been since 2011. So we're in the deep end and we're accepting of it as Packers fans that this is where we live. Nobody's calling for change. Nobody's calling for anything to happen. We're just stuck in this abyss of pretty good. And we're just happy with it.
In the business of football, in the regular season, how you would look at it, the Packers are winning. They are an amazing. If you just said this was a business, company wise, that is how you would want it to be, right? Yes. You're not trying to hit home runs. You're taking little risk. Yep. You are just climbing and you're plotting along. You're successful year in and year out. Rate of returns increasing, all these things. And I do think there are horrible owners out there, which we know, right?
Absolutely.
We can name a few. So you don't just say if the Packers had an owner, they'd be, they might have won some Super Bowls because they'd have that one figure that pushed them to do something different, right?
Or they'd be terrible.
Yeah. You could be the other way.
Absolutely.
So, but without the owner, winning regular season games, playing well at home, getting the Lambeau, all the experience, all that stuff, that is positive.
Yep.
And it is positive in a business sense. If you're an owner, you're I'm gonna swing for the fences. It might put a few more pennies in my pocket. It could do something, this way, that way. They have this singular mindset, whereas the organization as a whole for the Packers, because it's ran more like a corporation, right, is just let's plot along. We'll nibble at the edges. If all of a sudden there's something that feels really good, now it's our time to attack. We might get a shot at going and winning Super Bowl. And I mean, I don't know. I wish I had won more Super Bowls for sure. Right? I wish I'd played in more. I wish there was different things, but we always knew we had a chance. And I do think there's positives to be found there. You wouldn't want to be a Browns fan.
No, no.
You wouldn't want to be Jacksonville Jaguars fan. They had an exciting season this year, but that was one. Who knows what's going to happen, right? They might decide to tear that whole thing down.
What Rich brings to this our culture, this football team, is just it's really, he's a very impactful coach around here. Certainly, I thought we've been better on teams the last few years than we've been in a long time. Our cover units have been better. We got one of the best punters in the National Football. They've got an excellent snapper. Brandon was excellent last year. This year, again, he worked through some things injury-wise and then had a bad playoff game. That was kind of how that ended. But now I got a lot of faith in Rich and his staff, what they do around here. Not only the X's and O's and what they bring to the field, but what they bring to this place culturally is really important.
Brian, as a follow-up to that, everything you said is false. You're just lying.
The punter stuff wasn't false.
No, the punter stuff,
great
the long
punter.
snap. All right, not everything you said is false. But Brian, to stay up there and to say the coverage teams were good and that the special teams were good, they're just not. You look at the stats, you look at the eye test, but let's not do the eye test because I know you're a stats guy. And if the stats cover up what's actually going on, you'll use the stats as an excuse. So, Brian, let's look at the stats. The team did not play well this year on special teams. Return game was bad and coverage game was bad and penalties were awful on special teams. So how can you go up there and justify telling us, the media, telling the fans who are watching this on Packers.com right now what you're saying? How about you try with the truth? Why don't you just tell the truth for once in your godforsaken GM life?
Well, I wish it would have been worded a different way. We love Rich. We want to keep rolling with him. It hasn't been what we hold standard. We have not been as good in special teams as we want to be, but I think Rich is the guy to try to take us to the next part. That is real leadership. You're just saying words that don't even correlate to any facts that are out there.
Which is what he did all day.
They're literally facts and stats. Chicago Bears game in the regular season, the second one was lost by special teams.
Yep.
The playoff game lost by special teams.
Yep.
because wasn't in the regular season, there was a big punt return that got him to get the last touchdown.
Yes, there was.
And then the onside kick debacle. So, like, you can't say, like, special teams have been good these last 2 years. It's not just because you have a great punter. And I will say punt coverage, been great. But what else? What else has been good? They changed the kickoff rule. All kickoff coverage units were great unless you gave up a touchdown, right? Like, what? How do you even quantify those stats anymore on kickoff coverage? Because you're like kickoff, you're not covering, you're just standing and then tackling the guy when he runs next to you.
So, again,
is this my show now? Or are you just going to cut me off?
Sorry, I thought you were done. I thought you were done. I was trying to sound clean.
I am done. Tell me I'm out.
Trying to be clean with it. I have one more for you.
All right.
Again, I was proud of our team in a lot of areas this year. But finishing games is certainly something that we got to, concentrate on as we head into the 2026. And that was one where I thought certainly we played very, very well in the first half and had a lot of things in front of us. And when you get in situations like that, you expect to win the game.
It was topical to the Bears question.
Yeah,
that's why. Yes, that's what he was talking about. So I was just saying, like, he's saying all these good things, and then we're right back in the same boat of talking about this game where it was special teams that blew the game, and we got ourselves in a terrible situation right after he just gave, that was before he gave all this praise to Rich Bisaccia.
Yeah, it's weird. It's level-headed. There's no it's like blame is kind of just like squished out the side, right? Like we don't need blame, but we do need to actually look at facts.
Accountability.
And it is accountability.
There you go.
That's all we need.
Gosh.
Speaking of accountability, I'm going to hold you accountable for coming strong during Mason's extra points.
Okay.
Because that's coming up next. He's Mason Crosby. He's Tommy Words. I'm Mitch Nellis. Mason's extra points are next on the Mason Crosby Show, presented by Verizon.
What's on Mason Crosby's mind today?
Now I'm thinking.
It's time for Extra Points, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook on the Mason Crosby Show with Mitch Nellis.
Tell me what's on your mind.
On the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
All right. Well, thanks for listening to the Mason Crosby Show on this beautiful Wednesday here, and we got into some stuff. We're watching for another day to see what happens with Giannis. Giannis watches forever in our lives until at least tomorrow, right? And then we'll be able
Giannis.
to. What's that?
Bucks watch too. Like it can't just be Giannis.
Yes,
it's got to be the
Mitch,
team. John Horst has
we
to
gotta
make
watch
this
the
team
Bucks.
better.
There you go. Mitch, what'd you do for your birthday yesterday? Well, I know one thing, but yeah, did you do anything?
Not especially. We ordered in because it turned out that Whitefish Bay got destroyed by Pewaukee JV. And then my daughter, unbeknownst to any of us, had a meeting last night, like in the youth group she's in, and she forgot to put it on the calendar. So instead of going out to eat, we ordered in, but it ended up being fine. Like, it was great. It was delicious.
50, man. How do you feel?
I feel fit. I got a hip. My hip hurt. I got a hip. I got my
stuff's getting
That's the promo. That's the promo.
I got a hip.
I got a hip. Is the most
injury
report
report.
man ever. I love it.
Oh, that's so good.
You had some travels. Everything go good?
Yeah, so I wanted to hit one thing real quick. So I was at the speaker series for the Wisconsin Sports Hall of Fame. David Kohler there with me.
Yep.
And he said something about Kohler Company and leadership that I thought was really awesome.
Okay.
And just talking about how they operate. He's like, again, we hire people that can do the skills, do the jobs, but they have to be company people. They have to want to move the company forward.
Yep.
But he's also he's like, I'm the boss. I make all the tough decisions.
Okay.
But I will not keep someone around if they aren't able to figure things out on their own. He's like, I will make the final call, but I want self-starters and I want people to push our company in the right direction. And he's like, a great leader will listen to the person on the line, building the parts, just as much as he listens to his right-hand man as in the executive office. I thought that was just amazing. And how he said it was just fantastic. And I'm like, yes, that is why they have been growing in a successful company for 150 years or whatever, however long they've been going on. So
they've been amazing forever. No doubt about it.
Yeah, so I thought that was fascinating.
Ron Wolf on tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. on Inside Wisconsin Sports. He's not only the former Packers GM, a Packers Pro Football Hall of Famer. He's also Elliott Wolf's dad, who's the GM of the Patriots. So he'll join them tomorrow at 8. Today on Hot Stove Weekly, Andrew Vaughn will be on, and Jake Bowers, Tommy's favorite of all time. I don't even know how he's breathing right now. He's just so exciting. So excited.
Pros pro.
That's right. Pro. The Pelicans are at the Bucks tonight. The Pelicans favored by 5.5. That might be the most they've been favored in a game all year. The Pelicans are 13-39. The Bucks are 19-29. The Pelicans favored by 5.5. So everybody go to Potawatomi and bet on the Bucks.
There you go.
He's Mason Crosby. I'm Mitch Nellis. He's Tommy Wirtz. The Mason Crosby Show presented by Verizon.
Later.
I was